As an entrepreneur, I hope someone's doing something they love and have fun with. If not, I think you're in the wrong industry or in the wrong platform or with the wrong people. Really, my litmus test for everything in my life is, am I going to have fun doing it? Yeah. It doesn't mean it's going to be challenging, right? But is it worth it?
Put up your mask, let down your guard, and let's talk about the real. This is the Bring Your Own Mask podcast. Welcome everyone to the show. Today's guest, Denise, is the Chief Instigation Officer of Agents of Change. Today, she is not only an ovarian cancer survivor, she is a mom of two and a proud living benefits advocate. I'm so excited that she's on. She's a strong believer in conscious capitalism, and she has dedicated her entire life's work to helping others find financial freedom. Welcome to the show, Denise.
Thanks for having me. Man, that's a great introduction. I better live up to it.
Definitely do. I'm so excited to pick your brain. Just following your journey has been so enlightening for me. Denise, do you mind sharing with everyone what is living benefits, especially as someone that has never heard of it before?
Oh, wow. Straight into that? Because I'm an advocate, right? This is where I love to be the voice. And if I can put it in a nutshell, living benefits is a revolution that's happening in the financial service, specifically life insurance space. Follow me. I know I said life insurance and all your listeners are probably gonna get turned off. Okay. But it's a new type. It's basically life insurance you don't have to die to use. I repeat, life insurance you don't have to die to use. Where now, since 2007, if someone gets a heart attack, stroke, cancer, get disabled, there's a whole list of all these triggers. They can access their death benefit now while they're living after 30 days in these policies so that they don't have to suffer financially because of an illness, which most people do, right? And that's the reason why I kind of got out of healthcare. I've been in healthcare for 10 plus years. And the biggest issue is people can't afford care. And God knocked me left to make me right. And I found my calling to be that person to make sure people know about it. So it's my duty just to raise awareness. It's their duty to take care of their family. So I found my space to do that. And that's what living benefits is.
No, and that's awesome. I mean, I'm excited to talk about your story. Can you share with us a little bit more about how you became a living benefits advocate?
Yeah, absolutely. It found me. I was a client first. I believed in death insurance, life insurance at a really young age. Like you said, I'm a cancer survivor. Age of 14, I had ovarian cancer. 17, I had a reoccurrence, huge scare. So I thought I was going to lose my other ovary and have like no ovaries, right? And then just dedicated my life to serve. You know, I think people who face life like that and get second chances or third chances, that's your North Star. Like, how can I serve? I'm getting a second chance. I just want to live a life that matters. And I thought becoming a doctor was it. Or maybe I didn't have another choice. It was either engineering or a doctor. Right? Being from an Asian family, I really wanted to be a lawyer. I think I would have been an awesome lawyer, or broke one too, because I'd probably be all pro bono too. So I don't know. I was seeking, and this company just found me and they're like, hey, Denise, do you have a life insurance? I'm like, yeah, I'm a huge advocate. And they're like, do you have living benefits? I'm like, what's living benefits? Right? They're like, you can access this free riders. I'm like, nothing is free. Naturally, I'm a big skeptic. Anything that deals with family, deals with money. And for me, I take it very seriously, right? Because my family's been scammed so many times. And it's just like a hell no when it comes to something so serious. Like I even did a background check on my agent. Right? I'm so serious. My mom's a single mom, Bay Area, new immigrant. We don't have much, right? So I'm trying to preserve as much as we can and really play the game. And they came up to me and they reviewed my policy, educated me, which I appreciate because a lot of times people don't know what they have. They just buy it as a favor or just because upgraded my policy for free.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is real. And I've seen the claim checks in my agency. We've been paying out a lot. We've been paying like $2 to $3 billion in claims every year. We just delivered $1 million check to a 30-year-old gal who only had our policy for 2 years. It's a term policy too, by the way. I just want to say that because some people are like, oh, I can touch my cash value. Last January during a pandemic, found out she had breast cancer. By May, she had $1 million check tax-free.
Wow. And the thing is that nobody really talks about this, right? No one really knows about living benefits. That's also why I wanted to get you on the show is that I'll be honest, a lot of people don't even really know what life insurance is.
It's a turnoff. You don't talk about that as a party, right? I don't think I have many friends left. I'm like that friend that when you look at me, you want to start saving money and start talking serious. But I'm like the reminder of let's have a conversation that matters. Mm-hmm. Like, don't call me when it's too late. That's the catch.
Yeah.
Like now people are contacting me. Hey, my dad just had cancer. So-and-so just has a GoFundMe account. I'm like, sorry. And I hate that. And thank you for even asking.
Yeah, no, I mean, I want my listeners to understand more about, not just talk a lot about wealth consciousness, right? And conscious capitalism. And that's something we'll dive deeper into this podcast episode. But in terms of life insurance, not a lot of people know about it. And even if they do, they're not very well educated on what it can do for you on top of the living benefits. So I feel like it's a huge stigma. There's still not a lot of knowledge with it. You're in it, so you have all the knowledge, but a lot of people don't. And so sometimes I feel like we have to explain it in a way that makes sense, right? That's fun.
Yeah. But also, I think as an industry, if you actually do research, there's like 332 million people in the United States. There's only like 380,000 life agents. So there's a lack of access, right? And the average financial advisor or professional is a 59-year-old white male. So you can see it's not only maybe we're not educated, but where do we even learn? Look around you. Who do you know that takes this seriously, that you trust, right? So I am on a mission to change that, right? I need more representation. I like the diversity, multicultural, because this is a wealth accumulation tool. There's a reason why 10% of the wealthiest people own 60 to 70% of our accounts. Right. This is like cigar whiskey room type of a thing. Like, where can I tax shelter? How can I create these trust fund babies? And it's really crazy. And what I want to empower the people is I'm not special, you guys. I started this on unemployment. I was struggling for money. I just prayed for a way to do it legitimately that aligns with my values. And I think this industry, specifically with living benefits, is so honorable, right? I'm protecting families. I'm making sure if and when life happens, they have hope, right? They have options. And I think when you have hope, you can cope. And as a survivor, I can tell you that's all we need. Not stress about money when we're already stressed about dying. Yeah. Right. And I don't want to stress my family out, etc. And I just want to give people options, and money does that. And I'm just glad I found a way to heal people in that sense, where when they're getting bad news everywhere else, I get to deliver money. And tell me why most of our clients and people who make claims magically feel better. There's a science to it too, which is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Denise, I would love to get even deeper into this conversation. So let's actually put down our guard, put up our mask, and talk about the real. Are you ready for that?
Oh, I love reels. I'm so ready. What kind of mask do you have? I have options. I have like this charcoal carbon, gold. How about feng shui? You tell me.
I prefer the gold on you. I love gold. That's like my favorite color.
Okay. Gold is money too, right? Oh, I can see.
Yeah. I'm putting on a clay mask today. So part of the show is kind of introducing people to this concept of mask. Everyone knows that we all wear a mask. No one really likes to admit it. But yeah, specifically because so many of my listeners are also entrepreneurs, I'd love to tap into the topic of being a mom as well as an entrepreneur.
Are you going to go there? I'm already crying.
You can't cry on me right now. It's just the beginning.
You know I'm a big crybaby, right? Like, I'm like the most sensitive. My mask, I'm hardcore, but honestly, I'm a big crybaby.
So with that being said, share with us your journey of becoming a mom and an entrepreneur at the same time.
I was an entrepreneur before I became a mom.
Okay.
Right. And entrepreneurship, it's not like I dreamed about it. It's just something I fell into.
Yeah.
And the more I understood about what it means to be an entrepreneur and why we do it, it's honestly for freedom, right? And I became a mom, not planned, if you know what I mean. Because I'm building this business, right? A multi-million-dollar agency. A lot of people are depending on me. Can I even have the time to be a mom?
Yeah.
Like, I even thought about having an abortion when I found out first I was pregnant. It was so scary. And I hate myself still to this day. I think my son feels it energetically.
Really?
Yeah. Because, I think they feel things in their womb.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a self-worth thing. And it wasn't him, right? It's me. Like, am I capable? But in the silver lining, actually, as an entrepreneur, I control my schedule, right? I have the time. It gives me the ability to be a mom. No one tells me I can, I cannot do it. I don't need maternity leave.
Right.
Right. And actually, honestly, having a child made me a better entrepreneur.
I want to talk about that because I don't have kids yet. And it's terrifying to think about having kids.
You're going to have beautiful kids, by the way.
Thank you.
Wait, I read your book. You wanted a daughter. Is it my?
Yes, I do want a daughter. I want a daughter and a son, essentially.
Okay.
But I think the reason why I wrote a letter to my daughter first is because I have this thing with daughters. There's something about women and self-worth. Again, I'm not saying that men don't have that, but women have it more. And I definitely felt that a lot growing up. And I just feel like really called to have a daughter. So anyways, enough about me. The podcast is about you, right? I wanted to ask you, you said that you felt like you wanted to have an abortion because you were just in the middle of making so much money and having a team and all that stuff. What made you decide not to do that? And how did you push forward?
Well, it's really just slowing down and realizing what's important to me, right? Someone said something, it was like, be careful what you give up in pursuit of what you want, right? And at that time, it was like checklist. Okay, I'm in my late 20s, I'm getting married, I should have kids, but really in my heart, I don't feel ready. I think it would be like irresponsible of me as a human being to raise a child when I'm a child, right? I'm constantly reparenting myself every day. I just love the fact that my team stepped up when I was pregnant. Like, Denise, you don't have to worry. Like, I'm in the replacement of leadership game. It's not a boss employee type of a thing. We're partners. My business partners really stepped up. Actually, I was way more successful pregnant. Trust me. There's just this fire in you when you're pregnant. Actually, that abortion thought was maybe half a day. Right? It's just, can I do it? There's an option. I'm one of those, I just like to weigh all options, right? And I can't believe I thought like that.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, you know what? Everything's working for me. God gave me this gift, right? I have one ovary. Like, I thought I would never have kids.
Yeah.
Like, how dare me, in a sense. And then my mom, you know how many people try so hard and they can't even, you're thinking like that, you know, and I'm already still emotional. I'm just like, you're right. Like, this is a blessing, this guys. And I'll tell you, I have a son. He just turned 6. My daughter is about to turn 3. And I'm telling you, they bring out the best in me, made me a better entrepreneur and everything. So
yeah. And I can see like how this makes you emotional. I mean, I'm like listening to this and it's making me emotional. It's making me have kids, Denise, right? So it's interesting because a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to this show, I'm presuming that they either are new moms or they want to have kids, but they're scared. When you say that you felt like you became a better entrepreneur by being a mom, what is some advice for maybe some new moms that are wanting to make money, where they want money, but they also want to raise a child and they're so terrified of wondering if it's going to work for them because they want to do both?
Yeah.
What kind of advice can you give them?
Oh, it was absolutely a mindset shift. I thought it was one or the other.
Yeah.
Right. I thought I had to learn how to balance. And then here's where I started my healing journey. And some of my mentors like, there's no such thing as balance, it's harmony. So I include my kids in my business. They're little entrepreneurs. I did a presentation at a fire station and my son was suited to the T, brought his iPad and saw mom do a presentation. He sits here and watched me financially plan with people. I include them in the process. I realize we're a team, right? I have them travel with me. I help them understand the sacrifices and what it takes to become successful.
Mm-hmm.
So once I realized that, it was just a lot easier because I actually include them. I'll tell my son, like, mom has to work late tonight, or hey, it's the end of the quarter. I'm going to be very focused. I need your help. And me being vulnerable and including him, he actually steps up. Mom, I can tuck myself in today. You know, or hey, let me help take care of Braylee. So he actually feels like he's a part of it. And it's really exciting. He understands it takes hard work versus the old me would have been like, let me act tough and I can handle everything. And I separate my son like, okay, here's a special 10-minute mommy time. And when I'm here, I'm here. When I'm at work, or I'm like, no, it's all together. Right? It's all together. It's in harmony. The reason why we're entrepreneurs is for freedom, but you have the freedom to be a mom. Why not?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm at every field trip. Everyone thinks I'm unemployed, which technically I am because I'm my own boss, right? Like, they're like, Denise, what do you do? Like, you're young, right? And a certain lifestyle. I'm just like, I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I do it for my kids. Being a role model too. Like, if I'm telling them, baby, you can be whatever you want to be, never give up. Right. But I'm slaving for a 9 to 5 like I used to, right? Working for a jerk boss. Right. And what kind of example am I setting?
Yeah.
So I like the fact that I'm giving it all I got, right? And I involve my kid. And you don't have to give up what you're working, because a lot of people, they become intrapreneurs, right? Or solopreneur. They're like, hey, I want my 9 to 5, but I'm having a side hustle, which I think is great. I think clear communication and boundaries is fine. Like, when I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur. When I'm a mom, I'm a mom. Like, I block my schedule. My schedule is my boss. That's a great advice. Your schedule is your boss. Okay. Because being self-employed is great, all that freedom. But if you don't know how to manage yourself, oh my God, it was crazy. I was like always spinning and spinning and spinning. But now I got really organized. The team knows exactly when to contact me, when not to contact me. My kids know when to expect me, right? And when not. So it's very clear in the communication. And whenever I win something, like I'm getting an award, you know, in Vegas, end of the month, as like top 100 global leaders in finance and insurance. And whenever my kids see my face on a flyer or something, they're like, that's my mom.
Yeah.
You know, and I really involve them, where I tell them, if I have a tough day, here's how mommy handled it. So I use my days. And if you watch my stories, a lot of my stories are for my kids. That's bedtime stories on Instagram. That's what I do. I use my Instagram stories to tell stories to my kids. I share my day with them.
That's a good advice. I did not even think about that. I mean, I'm not a mom, but so I probably didn't think about that. So for moms listening, that is amazing. Can you share more about how you do it?
Yeah. So for business, you have to be on social media, which I hate. I've been a secret agent for so long, right? Like, I even wrote one of my papers in college on why I hated social media back in the MySpace days. But I realized for business, honestly, to serve as a conscious capitalist, you have to put yourself out there, right? It's not about you. You're there to serve. And I'm like, oh, I have to play the social media game, but I'm not good at building content. So someone taught me, Denise, documentation over building content, right? I'm like, fine, I'm just going to document my day. And that's when I started attracting real people. And that's actually how we connected, right? Social media. I'm like, hey, I really like this. This is our vibe. She's speaking my language. She's talking crystals and woo woo, but she's real. And I'm like, oh, wow. You know, like, we connected. So then I realized sometimes I'm so focused on social media
Yeah.
I have to build my content, my following, and all this. This is when I woke up. I'm working on my phone and I leave my phone to spend time with my kid. My baby daughter in her diapers goes, picks up my phone and gives it to me because that's my habit. She thinks mommy has to always have her phone.
Wow.
So that was my wake up call. Like, wow, my baby barely started walking in diapers, already know mommy's phone. Here's mommy's phone. Here's mommy's phone. Here's mommy's phone. So that made me wake up. I'm like, oh, hold up. So now Snapchat filters and everything, they're on with me. Like, that's like my favorite thing to do with my kids. Like, mommy, can we make funny faces today? Right. So I use my phone in harmony with my lifestyle. So when I start documenting, I document not only all the good times, like here's the family I helped today, baby. Here's mommy's flat tire. Here's the officer that helped me. So I get to use my story, my 24-hour story during bedtime story. We read a book and then I'm like, hey, I want to share my day. So we do this exercise and I think it's awesome because I discover a lot about my children and vice versa. I go, okay, what are you grateful for? What's exciting that happened today? One thing that wasn't excited, like any bad day or anything happened, and how can we improve?
Right.
So I reflect. So that's when I started my vulnerability challenge. So I told my kids, like, I was having a great day and I came home and it was kind of stressful because you and your sister kept fighting, right? But here's how I improved. So I like sharing my day with them because when we're working or they're in school, you know, how do I show a 6 or 3-year-old if I don't have stories or visuals, right? So I used to tell them, oh, my day was good. They can't make sense of it.
Right.
So I just let the story tell and they're like, oh, mom. And then we get creative and I let them use the filters.
Yeah.
So it's a really great way to kind of harmonize everything where I can still do my social media and build my business, my following. I can involve my kids and they get super excited about it. And people fall in love with my kids too, right? They're like, it's really fun. And I really get to connect at a different level and just absolutely be myself.
Yeah. So I love that you say that because again, I haven't thought about that, but it's such a good way to knock two birds with one stone, right? Like you're documenting, you know, what your day looks like. And then at the end of the day, you're sharing it with your kids. And really, I think it's genius. And this actually reminds me to ask you, you know, you talk a lot about how you felt like you were a big kid and like you were not ready to have kids because you were a kid. But when you said that, it made me think about how you are perfect parents because kids, in my opinion, should always stay like kids, right? That's where, you know, creativity happens. Like once you become too grown up. Like,
yeah.
So
don't do it. It's a trap. Don't grow up.
So I want you to share with listeners, how do you balance having fun, having kids, and like still making money? How do you do it?
Well, number one, as an entrepreneur, I hope someone's doing something they love and have fun with. If not, I think you're in the wrong industry or in the wrong platform or with the wrong people. Fun is my center. It's my favorite 4-letter F word. F-U-N exclamation mark. That's just my thing. Okay. Like I'm the fun parent, fun auntie and all that. But I do get in my moments when I'm always in my head, right? And I forget to have fun. So I love having kids because it reminds me to have fun. And when I do, and I'm in that center, being creative and being innovative, it flows naturally. So how do I balance it? Really, to me, everything in my life, when it comes to business, friends, and thank God for COVID because it's a great purge, right? You know who's fun and who's not, right? Kind of a sense, right? Who's worth me sacrificing or jeopardizing my life to go see you, right? It has to be worthwhile. So really my litmus test for everything in my life is, am I going to have fun doing it? Yeah. It doesn't mean it's going to be challenging, right? But is it worth it? And I gamify everything. Gamification is my thing. Like I've learned to separate who I am and what I do and keep kind of like scoreboard when it comes to like my diet, my business, so I can measure. So it keeps it fun. It took me a while to get there though, because I used to be in the shame and guilt vortex where, you know, oh my God, I am everything I do and I must be a huge mistake and, you know, like all this stuff. And I'm like, wait, hold on. It's just a process, right?
Yeah. And so you literally are so good at this because what you just said beautifully leads into my next question, which is, you know, you talk a lot about gamification and I feel the same way where when you treat things like a game, or if you're able to separate yourself from something, you can do great things, right? Like when you're dating, like you can die and come back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? So why don't we take off our masks and let's talk about like how you actually gamify your entire business.
Well, luckily my business, the platform has a scoreboard and everything, right? And I have goals, right? And it's aligned with my values and everything. And it's not too out of reach. The higher you go, the more money you make, the more problems. I think you're just getting paid to deal with BS. And the more professional and expert you are at dealing with BS, the more you can get paid. Like, honestly, that's all it is.
People listen and they want to get rich, but they don't realize that you still have problems when you're rich. You just have different problems and
Yeah.
problems that you need to crush, right?
Yeah. How I gamify it is I'm not focused on money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm focused on the impact, which to me, if you go on our site, Agents of Change Out Today, is all about impacting change because impact equals income, period.
Right.
Right. And profits always follows passion and purpose. So it's like a moral compass where I have to make sure everyone knows about living benefits.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a goal. I don't know what it is. I don't care if I get paid or not to do it. I'm just going to do it. But naturally, I don't know why money just flies at me, especially after I read your book. I'm so serious, by the way. Like, it's been 1 year since I read your book. Wow. And everything just 10x. So
hear that, everyone?
Yeah, you guys hear that, listeners? Read her book. If you haven't, make sure you read the book. I actually make my agents read it. It's part of our curriculum.
I know, and I'm very honored, honestly, that you have your agents read it. The thing is that with wealth consciousness and, conscious capitalism, a lot of people, want to make money and they see money a certain way, but they don't really understand the energy of money, right? And, think that you're someone that understands that money is not just an external thing, right? But it really is an inner game. It's an inner mindset, and it's also energy. And so for you, I have beautifully seen you create your life in a way that is not only like admirable, but it's also where people often question, like, what is it that you do, right? You talked about that. But I really want to circle back to, did you have any limiting beliefs yourself? I know in my book, I talk about limiting beliefs, but what were one of your main limiting beliefs that stopped you for a long time to getting to where you are today?
Holy, there were so many. I'll tell you, I had a bad relationship with money. I'm good at making it. I wasn't good at keeping it. I'm one of those, I give. I'm a nonprofit gangster. Whatever I have, I'll donate. Whatever I'll do. Yes, mom need it. Sister needs it. Anybody, here. And I'll just sacrifice my life, right? And money's a relationship, right? So I improved in that. So my limiting belief with money was evil, right? Because I'm so big in nonprofit, but it's called nonprofit for a reason. I had to understand that money was just a tool, and I didn't understand that. My relationship with it wasn't healthy because in my household, my dad made a lot of money, right? And it was always like, I felt like he can buy love with it. I love my dad, by the way. You're one of my greatest friends. This is being vulnerable, mask off, right? Like nice cars and all that. But unfortunately, the family broke up. So I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to be that person, right? But what I didn't realize was I was hurting myself and my money space, right? Which I had to heal. And then now I've learned to love and respect money. I used to think it was bad for me to want money. How about that? I don't know how to say that. Is that a limiting belief? Like, is it okay for me to want more money? Does that make me a greedy person? Does that make me not a good person? But I need money to pay the bills. I need money to take care of my mom and my kids. Like, there's just so much weird belief around it, right? Mm-hmm. And then your book clarified a lot. Actually, I did a lot of work prior to your book that I wish I just read your book because it will save me thousands of money, like thousands of dollars. You guys hear that? Read the book before you go through all the stuff, and then it'll guide you, because all these practices I did. I went through Ho'oponopono. I went through hypnosis. I went through therapy. I went through this, and this. And then your book has everything, like the exercises, right? Which I love. And then I've learned money is just a magnifier. And that was my big breakthrough. That was my biggest breakthrough, and why I wanted my agents specifically, or anyone in my circle, to read your book to, number one, heal their relationship with money. Number two, understand that it's okay to make more, right? Because money just magnifies who you are. So if you're a good person, hell yeah, make more money because you're going to do more good.
Exactly.
Right? If you're a bad person, I'm going to pray for you. That's all I can do, right? But my duty and what I want, I think where we align is I just want really good people to just make more, have that freedom. And I can only imagine the creativity, the innovation, the problems we can solve together, the families we can heal.
Yeah.
Like, imagine right now, like all the listeners, if you did not have to worry about money right now, how would your lifestyle be? Yeah. And I finally experienced that. And I'm 36, and I wish more people, I feel like I've Noah's Ark, and I just want to show them the money game. Like, guys, it's just strategy. This is how you do it. Heal your relationship. Read this book, right?
Yeah.
Building blocks. So you can learn to think for yourself.
Yeah.
So if and when life happens, pandemic, recession, you know what to do, and you're learning from the right resource. And thank you for this podcast. And I'm happy to be a resource anytime.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting because you talked about how you had your fair share of limiting beliefs, and obviously everyone does. And with your story, with your dad, you saw money as evil, right? You saw money as something that divided the family rather than together. So I wanted to ask you, when did you have this breakthrough that that wasn't the case? That money was not meant to break apart a family?
Because I'm busting my ass to make money to keep the family together. I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. But at the same time, me taking time away from the family to make money was another limiting belief, right? Like all the sacrifices, but I realized there's a time frame for everything. There's harmony. Maybe I have all the time with my family, but I'm making less money. Yeah. Maybe there's a huge surge of momentum in my business. I have less time with my family. Right. So I just had to understand there's seasons. There's harvest seasons, right? There's fall. There's like times I have to just be diligent. And that's what entrepreneurship is. Like what made me a better entrepreneur, especially being now like totally business owner, you have to learn how to anticipate, right? Learning how to anticipate, healing your relationship with money. I think there's always new levels of limiting belief, right? Even for me to be on this podcast was hella extra for me. Trust me. Like, I'm just like, I'm not ready. What? I want to be, I'm not ready for the world. I know my social media looks otherwise. I look like this confident woman, but trust me, it's work for me and anxiety a lot of times. And I have this thing of making money is never about you. Yeah. Right? So I tell myself, I literally had to take a cold shower before this thing, right? And, and I was just like, this is not about you. This is not about you. Because it's scary to be an entrepreneur. It's scary to be a mom, a leader, or whatever, right? So we have all these self-doubt. But if you notice, your focus is on yourself. So I notice I'm just focusing on myself and not my purpose, not who I'm serving. Mm-hmm. To make that all disappear, I focus on who I'm serving. Yeah. And naturally, that's my kids and everything. Because if I can heal the world money-wise and cultivate my environment, mm-hmm. imagine how my kids are going to grow up. Yeah. Right. So I'm really thinking generationally.
That's what I love. And that's why I brought you on, is that I knew that we were on the same page when it comes to changing our ancestral lineage on the way we look at money, right? So that our kids, maybe they do have some type of healing that they need to do, but not as bad. Because the thing is that, like, granted, like our parents and our grandparents did not have the internet, right? Like, mm-hmm. right? They didn't have these tools, and luckily we do. And it's interesting because as our world evolves, we see children evolving as well. And it's really up to us as parents to be able to show them what, you know, they need to do in order for us to kind of close that gap, right? So yep. I'd love to ask you, you know, when it comes to money rituals, or when it comes to any type of wellness ritual with your kids, I know that you shared with me your story, the thing that you do with your stories. Is there anything else that you do with your kids that you feel like helps them when it comes to wealth consciousness and having a better relationship with money?
Do you know who Robert Kiyosaki is? Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Mm-hmm. He has comic books for kids. He has board games, cash flow for kids.
Wow.
Right. So I talk about money a lot for them, not from a scarcity mindset, but teaching them, like raising awareness. Because I wish my parents taught me. It was like, no, we don't have a lot. You better finish all your food. I got fat just because I was so guilty just not to waste food, right? That refugee mentality, right? And it's just really interesting because my dad is a spender. My mom is super thrifty. So when I read your book, I was laughing. I'm just like, oh my God. But for me, there's an abundance. It's a huge abundance of money. Who says there's a scarcity at all? Yeah. Right? It's just you have to have a flow towards your way. I just had to raise awareness to that. Money rituals, I have hella crystals that are wealth. Right? But with my kids, I speak money. There's a currency in my household and we don't like to use money. Okay. Right? Currency, maybe time. Maybe when you read books, you earn certain things. If it's your chore, you don't earn anything. That's your chore. Okay. Right? And there's this thing I say to my kids, do what you have to do first before you get to do what you want to do. Period. I'm telling myself every time too, because everything I'm telling them is a mirror. And you should see when I'm doing something, my son is like, Mom, do what you have to do before. I'm like, oh my God, he's telling me now, right? Or Mom, you didn't do this. So what I love about kids is they're just a big mirror, right? Sometimes like, oh my God, do I sound like that? You know, like
two of them next to you.
Yeah, I know. Oh, my daughter scares me the most. Oh, by the way, when you said you want to have a daughter and a son, and I'll tell you, my life changed most with my daughter. Because with the son, you think, okay, I can be a role model as a human being, but being a man is different, right? I get to be the fun mom. But when daughter came about, man, it was like face your shit university. I was just like, oh my God, I have to be an upstanding woman. Like, what kind of woman am I? Having her really was on top of Motivite was like 1,000x everything.
Yeah, it's like your mini me, right? Like following you around and you're like, okay, I'm this person's role model. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's 100% now, not just as a human being, right? With Brendan, my oldest, he's a male and he can follow his dad and all that dad's role. And I'm supporting one way or another. But I feel like being a woman leading another woman is a different thing because now it's 100% of you. Yeah. Right? You can't have that gender excuse.
Right. That's amazing. I mean, I actually wanted to slide into talking about what kind of projects you're excited about this year. I know that obviously you're a living benefits advocate. I mean, for people that are interested in maybe learning more about living benefits, obviously they're going to reach you. I'm going to put your information here. Share with us some kind of projects that you're working on this year when it comes to.
Oh my, so many. I think when I said I was ready, it just started pouring on me. Like I had projects after projects, more podcasts and stuff like that. And I think this is my real first one. So thank you. This Saturday, which is crazy, I'm hosting an event called Decentralizing Financial Services. Right. And I'm getting heavy hitters in different industry. I got a certified financial planner and fiduciary. I got real estate broker. I got a doctor and all this stuff. And I'm going to host and ask them questions about money because I just want to give people access. And my theme is empowering Main Street versus Wall Street. Right. And that's this Saturday. I'm super excited about. I'm going to be hosting, which I'm going to start practicing and learning how to host. Maybe you can teach me like, how do you even ask these questions? But it's going to be very organic, very conversational. I'm going to ask the hard questions because I think everyone wants to learn about money. And they say that knowledge is power, but it better come from the right resource. Because I lost a lot of money too. I listened to my broke uncle, but he's broke uncle for a reason. I think one of the biggest advice I can give to you, if you're still listening, I know it's a little bit of tangent, is when you take someone's opinion, you're going to take their lifestyle. So you got to be careful. So the old immature me, right? I would have listened to, okay, you're flashing all this stuff on IG and all that, and especially with social media, it's so hard now, right? I would be like, okay, how's their lifestyle? How's their marriage? How's the relationship with their kids? Are they even healthy or is it just money, right? How are they off the clock?
Yeah.
And if I want all of that, at least, or 90%, I'll listen. If not, filters.
Can you repeat that one more time? Because that was really good. That's saying
when you take someone's opinion, you'll take their lifestyle.
I never even thought of it that way. I mean, sometimes social media can be a little bit deceiving, right? Because you don't really know. I try to follow as many authentic people like that are vulnerable on camera, off camera, whatever. But again, it can be a little bit deceiving. And I sometimes you have to use your spiritual eyes to see what is real and what is not real. And so I really like that you say that. Is there a trick or a hack that you use to tell if someone's being real or not?
Yeah, I authentically be myself. Some people sit down with me and they're like, wow, I didn't know you're like this. I was like, why? Because when you think finances and I'm in a suit, what I love about now, I don't even have to wear suits anymore. Like I'm in my flip-flops and I'm talking money because I think people just want to feel comfortable. Remember, you do business with people you like and trust and are like you. The old me tried to sound so fancy. Trust me. I talked like I was a financial advisor. I was so all these jargons. And I realized that's what's the barrier that kind of gives people access, right? So now I tell people, I'm like your modern day Robin Hood. Okay. Like this is just strategies. And I'm telling you, I was unemployed, super in debt. Then first year part-time made 6 figures, retired my mom. And there's like this progression, but I'm telling you, I've learned lessons throughout the whole way. I lost a lot of money and made money. And I just want to pay that forward so someone can become successful, bigger and better than me and faster and sustain it. Notice I said sustain it. It's not just fast money. I'm talking about sustained success. That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in building something that's to last. I'm not interested in going to a fad, to a next fad, and next fad. And that's why I kind of like my industry because it's recession proof, pandemic proof, and it's never saturated. So I feel safe here, right? So yeah, what's the hack? When you're authentically yourself, here's the thing. I think it's an inside out thing. A lot of times people look at me, they're trying to find if I'm trying to sell them. When you constantly look at a salesperson, you're looking for something wrong and you're not authentically yourself too. On the flip side, I'm telling you as a servicing agent, if you're not transparent and authentic, I don't know how to serve you, right? Because it's very intuitive to help someone financially plan, right? And talk about things that matter. Like, hey, if you pass away, is your family going to thrive or struggle if they lost your income? If you get sick today, what are your options? If you live too long, are you going to outlive your money? It's an uncomfortable thing, right? So I naturally have to put my walls down, sometimes act a fool so that my clients feel it's safe for them. And I really tell them, hey, this is a safe place. There's like space for grace, I say, right? It's totally confidential and just learn. That's why I kind of like started documenting my journey online. So people look at my Facebook and whatever, like, wow, she's real. I'm like, yes, I'm real. I could have done it differently. But I chose to be authentic because I really want to reach people that are real. And I think me being authentic myself allows people and give them permission to be. And I think it's just that permission and a place where they actually feel in their gut, like, wow, this girl ain't judging me. Right. And she really cares about me. And that's what I want to pay forward. Is like in business, you're dealing with people, period. Everything's a people's business. Are you authentic? Can people around you be authentic? Is your team and culture authentic? Right. Or is it just a filter, a mask?
Yeah. And then that's also why I like talking about stuff like this, right? Because I think sometimes people are hiding behind their mask and they forget that they're wearing a mask, right? They forget that we are just all wearing masks. There's nothing wrong with wearing masks, but we need to take them off sometimes, right? Or what happening is that it gets stuck on your face.
True story. I had a peel right before this one. I wore the wrong mask. I didn't follow directions. It was stuck on my face.
It was great because it was such a huge learning lesson. Honestly, the people listening to this, sometimes we put on masks, we leave it on too long, and guess what? It hardens and it becomes like this part of us, and it's hard for us to take it off. And
so hard.
This is really a lesson to show that, like, hey, don't be attached to the mask that you put on, right?
Ooh.
Take it off in due time and learn to take it off and be authentic with who you are and really happy with who you are.
There is such a freedom to that. I was one of those, like, never be vulnerable, don't show emotions. When I tell you I'm the biggest crybaby, I'm the biggest crybaby. I found so much power in vulnerability. I follow Brene Brown. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I love her to death, right? If you're talking about money as currency and its energy, the more free I feel and I'm myself, I'm just telling you, it's just natural, right? And what's crazy, it's contagious. Then people start feeling free and they start feeling like, wow, why can't I be like that?
Yeah.
Why can't I take off the mask? Who's going to judge me? Does it matter if they judge me? If you don't pay my bills, I really don't care. And if you're not really close to my family, I really don't care about your opinion. It took me a while to get there, especially in the social media game, right? Every like or not like, or these trolls, people talking about you. I'm pretty sure you get that, right?
Oh yeah.
Don't worry, I'm in your corner. We know it's real.
You're all watching this. You're not welcome, by the way.
By the way, we love you. Don't worry about it. We just understand there's probably an inner child wound that we're going to love on, right?
They're going to comment on that.
Yeah.
But this was an amazing, Denise. We talked about so many things that I feel like not a lot of people are ready to talk about in front of the camera. We didn't even really touch upon your ovarian cancer story either, right? Like we went from straight into entrepreneurship and motherhood, but that was great because I really feel like I attract so many moms and moms that like want to make money and be able to still love on their child and be there for their children. And I really appreciate you talking about harmony and talking about how it's important to be able to include them in your business. So how can people keep in touch with you? Where can they find you? Where can they follow you?
Okay, so IG, very simple, ABC, Denise XYZ, which in there, if you didn't see, is very creative. So Denise is sexy. You gotta find it. It was accidentally cool. I was trying to be so simple, but I realized there's a genius in my simplicity and it just works out. So you can follow me. I have kind of like a link page, solo.2/Denise Do, right? And all my stuff is there, like the podcast or anything important, any updates. My Calendly is there if you want a free consultation. This is all I do for a living. I just love talking to people and connecting. And if I can be of service, I will, or guide you, right? I have a great team. I have a great network, right? Of people, whatever you need when it comes to money or healing, that's my space, right? And when I say Chief Instigation Officer, really just means I make shit happen. Okay. Like I instigate, I make it happen. And our website for our team and our movement is agentsofchange.today. Meaning I'm looking for agents of change in your space that are relevant today. I don't care what you did 20 years ago. I don't care what your resume is and your track record. Are you relevant today? And can you help us move forward? Right. So I'm very interested in connecting with movers and shakers of whatever industry to come together holistically to serve the whole. Right. And this is what I want to do in the financial service space, because I feel like there's so much ego and so much this is better and this and this and this. And I'm like, really, it's just really strategy. And can you put your ego aside and client centered? Because I can see blind spots that you don't see and you can probably see mine. Can you imagine if we just came together and had like that family office, which I'm forming like a family office, and just here, whatever you're good at, you want your mortgage or whatever. Oh, that's a blind spot. There's a tax consequence here, because we speak our language, but imagine how much more powerful we can be as a community. And I think that's what conscious capitalism is. So there's my link. Facebook's very Denise Do, right? Or if you're her friend, which you should be following, you'll find me, right? And I'm here to be of service for whatever you need, wherever I can add value, mommying, whatever, all good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Denise. It's been such a pleasure and honor having you on the show. I cannot wait for people to get to know you more, to follow you, check out your kids, but learn more about you when it comes to living benefits as well as wealth consciousness. Thank you so much, Denise.
It's an honor. Thank you.